Thank you. I've been riding fences, a cowboy in the cold, alone out on the prairie, patching up the holes, tightening the wires, setting posts out on the plains. I've been riding fences in the rain. Well, it doesn't seem that long ago you said you'd come out here with me to this little prairie ranch house where you asked where are the trees. Well, you did like the dust and wind. Said you felt alone. You said you didn't know if you could make this place your home. But you really must have loved me, 'cause you decided that you'd stay. And the house took on your spirit, the grass took on your sway, and the trees that you planted, they grew perfect in that place. And you were right all along, I do enjoy the shade. Well, a cowboy's life is spent trying to control the wild range, bringing order to confusion, fighting off the change. He's a master and protector, the man with the final word, patching up the barbed wire to keep the herd secure. And I've been thinking about the day the doc said your time had come to go. Now I understand why my old man said it's better not to know. All these days and hours thinking of what reason there might be that God would choose to call you home instead of calling me. I've been riding fences, a cowboy in the cold, alone out on the prairie, patching up the holes, tightening the wires, setting posts out on the plains. I've been riding fences in the rain. Thank you. Well, gee, it's great to be here at SWRFA. I grew up a bluegrass musician, but I'm not doing any of that tonight. Don't worry. I left my banjo at home. Oh, banjo jokes, really? I grew up in Wyoming, in Wheatland, Wyoming. Has anybody ever been there? There's not much there. But my great-grandmother was from Amarillo. She grew up in Amarillo. She was born in 1908 and died in 2009. She was almost 101. And she's kind of a good, litmus test for like how short history is in perspective, because Red Cloud, the famous Indian chief, he died in 1909. So my great-grandmother was alive for a year that he was still alive, and he was born when Andrew Jackson was president, they think. And Andrew Jackson was born before there was a United States. So anytime that you think things happened a long time ago, it's not really that long ago. So here's a song I wrote about her since I'm in Texas. I'll play it for her. Well, 7, that's how old she was, following a wagon through the sand. From Amarillo to New Mexico, that's the way they traveled back then. Well, it was 1915 and her family was struggling, headed west to chase the hope of a dream. To the land of enchantment, hoping the best would happen, along with her family. Well, she told me when I was younger, son, the way that you make it through, you keep your nose pointed to the brightest horizon, keep your feet falling and rising. Don't you worry about what you left back east, you won't get nowhere if you don't move your feet, you know. That's how you make it home. Well, now she weren't no lazy 20-something, wishing for the best. She was a child of northern Texas. Her home, it always was the West. She never graduated, didn't call herself educated. She just trying to make it through. She told me when I was younger, son, the future depends on you. Things are easier now, so these new hard times, they seem harder to everyone. But people are too selective, they have no perspective. Harder things have been done. There's been too much given, too much careless living, too much is wrapped up in the things we own. You gotta let it go. That's how you make it home. By the standards today, raised twin girls in the hardest times. Her husband built roads and the Horsetooth Dam and trapped coyotes to make a life. The 12 years her daughters were in school was never the same one, more than 8 months. And they lived in trailers and stone wall houses. Sometimes their floors were dust. She told me, son, don't you ever regret. Take any break that you ever can get. Happiness isn't dollars and cents. Hard times came, but hard times went. And you can't build a life out of money and stone. You build it from love. That's how you make it home. Thank you. It's kind of, I submitted 2 songs that were about family members, which isn't a normal subject that I write about, but you're just lucky, I guess. Get to hear about my family. My grandpa, this is not my grandparents from Texas, but from Wyoming. My grandpa grew up in Lingle, Wyoming. Does anybody know where that is? I always say it's like halfway between Henry and Dwyer, if that helps. Near Chugwater. My grandpa's name was Burma Fay Curry, but he didn't like the name Burma, and he didn't like the name Fay, so everybody called him Pepper. Pepper Curry. And he and his buddy Wimpy were working in a field one day, and they saw an open boxcar and decided they'd hop on the train and see where it took them. And they were gone for like 2 weeks. They didn't tell anybody. They just left. And so anytime I hear about people complaining about kids these days, I think, well, my grandpa, he just like left. So when they came back up, my grandpa said they smelled so bad that his mom made him strip down naked and she sprayed him with a hose for 20 minutes. Maybe that was punishment, but I don't know. But here's a song I wrote about him. Thanks for listening. My name's Martin Gilmore. Well, now, Pep said to Wimpy, do you see that train? Do you want to go ride the bum? There's the boxcar open, 12 cars back, and I'm tired of working this field in the sun. Tell my uncle to take my car, my mama won't miss me none. Gonna ride that train across the old Great Plains into the setting sun. When you're young, time passes by. So when you see a train, you should hitch a ride. It don't matter if it's right or wrong, it's a one-way track. And when it's gone, you can't go back. Well, now, Wimpy says to Pepper, hold on, man, this here mountain, it's getting steep. I never been so cold, I never felt so old. I'm tired and I can't get to sleep. Well, I always thought I'd like to live a hobo's life and ramble from town to town. But all this clanking and clinking's got me to thinking that I'm better off settling down. When you're young, time passes by. When you see a train, you should hitch a ride. No matter if it's right or wrong, it's a one-way track. And when it's gone, you can't go back. Wimpy met a rum-dum-bum, said there ain't no beginning or end. Ah, hobo boys ain't got no destination, it's just the way he chooses to live. So have you another cup of mulligan, son, and you better be on the fly. Cause that train's starting to rumble in this old bum jungle, ain't no place to spend your life. When you're young, time passes by. When you see a train, you should hitch a ride. No matter if it's right or wrong, it's a one-way track. Oh, when it's gone, you can't go back. And when it's gone, you can't go back. Thank you very much.